The imposter syndrome is probably not something that we're all familiar with, but we can guarantee that at least once in our lives, everybody has experienced it. On this week's episode of GetPsyched, we're going to be looking at a definition of the imposter syndrome, why it happens, who it happens to, and what you can do about it. Guys, welcome to another episode of GetPsyched, and like I said, this week we're going to be looking at the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome was first coined by Pauline Clance and Suzanne Innes in 1978, who conducted a study with high-achieving and intelligent women who believed that they weren't that intelligent and that they were overpraised. So what exactly is the imposter syndrome? Well, fundamentally, the imposter syndrome is a feeling that people get, even those that are high achievers, who believe that they're not that successful, who believe that they've succeeded by accident, and that perhaps one day will get found out. Imposter syndrome and people with imposter syndrome often discredit their own achievements as well. If this resonates with you, then you're not alone. At least 70% of us, studies have shown, have experienced imposter syndrome at one time in our lives. If left alone and misunderstood, the imposter syndrome can have real effects on our self-awareness and self-efficacy. So what exactly can we do about the imposter syndrome if that we think we suffer from it? Studies have shown that if we can understand and reach the true source as to why we feel the imposter syndrome, then we can start to do something about it. So perhaps you can delve into a little bit of self-awareness and come to a realization of why you perhaps feel like a fraud or feel like you don't deserve the success that you've experienced. Once you get to that level, then you can go into further steps and try and improve that feeling of imposter syndrome. Now, the next thing that we can do is that we can talk about it. Now, it's true to say that talking about our issues or challenges always has therapeutic value and benefits, but with the imposter syndrome particularly, it can be really beneficial. What it can do is it can affirm the accomplishments and the successes that you've had. It can also make you have more self-awareness as to just how well you've done and how you've actually got to those successes. The opinions of someone else can give you confidence and support as you move forward and try to get over the imposter syndrome that you've been feeling. The next thing that you can do, research has shown, is that you can change your thinking pattern. Now, this is true to say in all walks of life. The way that we perceive something, the way that we think about something has real physiological benefits and real impact on how we actually act out different behaviours, including the imposter syndrome. In order to stop acting like an imposter, you have to stop thinking like it. And that sounds pretty easy, but in truth it's very difficult. But it is one of the main steps in order to get over that imposter syndrome that you've been feeling. The next step that some literature suggests is that you can start to try and appreciate your own worth. Basically, this means remind yourselves as to why you are where you are and why you succeeded in the way that you have. In doing so, we affirm our own position and we can reduce our imposter syndrome. So how do you do this? Well, one of the things you could do is you could write down a list of your achievements. You could even do small things like read your CV or read job application references that you've received in the past. Fundamentally, anything that's going to boost your self-awareness of just how successful you've been and the accomplishments that you've achieved. I'm going to be honest with you, the imposter syndrome is something that I've suffered from quite a bit recently. When I started my doctorate in counselling psychology, it was an environment where I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't really feel like I could have an impact in it, and I felt at any moment I was going to get found out and chucked off the course. It wasn't until I implemented some of these really impactful practical steps that I started to develop a sense of awareness and started to really believe that I did belong there. So guys, thanks so much for watching this week's episode of GetPsyched. This week we've been looking at the imposter syndrome, a definition of the imposter syndrome, what it can actually do to people, and the best steps that you can implement in order to tackle it. Guys, if you've been enjoying the videos over the past few weeks, over the past few months, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the bell next to it and you'll get notifications every time I upload a video. Thanks so much for watching and hopefully catch you next week.